Good. So I was really impressed that almost none of the speakers used many PowerPoints, which is, PowerPoints like killing our ability to orate and talk. But then I just ask your forgiveness that I want to show you 3 images. So this is the first image. And 2090, scientists do these projections to 2100. 2090 is really far away, but I found a 25-year-old, and if she agrees to have children on the schedule that I'm going to propose to her, and if her children have children on that schedule, her grandchild will be only 30 years old when this materializes. This is a 4-degree warmer world that we're heading towards. I'm a Zimbabwean, and as you can see, Zimbabwe is dark gray. A 20% decline in the growing season. I've worked with smallholders in Zimbabwe for 20 years under incredibly harsh conditions where almost you say the only thing to do is to get out of the landscape because it's so tough. 20% decline in growing season is just, it would kill the continent. As you can see, gray over large areas of the continent, 5 to 20% declines, the light gray on vast other areas. The green are the few patches where things may improve slightly in terms of growing season. Now, there's highly uncertainty, these kinds of projections, but this is potentially where we're heading towards. Now, let's compare that to what's happening at the negotiations. In 2009, there was some text on agriculture, calling for more work on agriculture, and it didn't go anywhere. In 2010, there was a similar kind of text, and it didn't go anywhere. 2011 was historic in that agriculture was mentioned in a single sentence in the Durban Agreement. And that sentence was, let's refer the work to Subster for a decision at COP. Well, historic. I mean, almost no movement, but historic. 2011 in Doha, no movement, and I can already tell you now there's 0 movement on agriculture at this COP as well. So you just want to, on Wednesday when I was watching what was going on, you want to give up on it because it's impossible. So if you could just go to the next one. So I totally agree. This is the youth statement in 2010. You've been negotiating all my life. You cannot tell me you need more time. The progress that we see in these negotiations is just impossible. We have to get on and do things. And there's no group better to do it than the youth. So I totally support this kind of activism, and the best group to do it is the youth. I'm a scientist, and I'm supposed to pick my words very carefully. I must be sober about it. I must be academic, and I must publish it in Nature and Science. But I think it's time to speak out and be more militant. And this is a great article, if you can just look at the next slide. It's in New Statesman, How Science is telling us to revolt. And there's some nice stories in there about how scientists have reached the end of their tether and agree that the only way forward is revolution. So I invite you to initiate the revolution. I'm impressed by the passion that the speakers showed this afternoon. I think there's huge responsibility actually on the youth to actually change the world, because the seniors have not left the world in a good place. And by the time Tembi's grandchildren are 30, we do not want that first picture on the PowerPoint. So I'm completely behind these proposed outcomes I heard. The youth can and must be empowered. We must use whatever resources we've got and really make action on the ground. Amy, we must revolutionize research. Research must be in a completely different way, completely different metrics in terms of how it's measured. And I come from CCAFS, which is the Climate Change, Agriculture and Food Security Program of the CG, which I lead, and we're trying to do some of those things, to really change the metrics, to put large amounts of of effort into communications, to have a real responsibility to work with partners in a proper way and not be found out that you're the first researcher to come back to a village. So I think it was a really inspiring session this morning that I heard. It's lifted my spirits after I heard the state of the negotiations, and so I thank you and I invite you to revolt.